Hello, Dan Mowinski here, certified AI consultant and chief AI officer. So, a lot of people use AI for work and for business, but how do people use it in actual life, like real life? So, I used AI recently to do something, and I thought it would be nice to share just to see if anyone else might be interested or, want to know other ways to use AI besides work reasons. Because my wife pretty much just uses it to translate language here in Mexico. Anyway, okay, so first thing. I recently moved to Mexico and I am getting a place to rent. Before I go over what I already gone over, because you probably already read this so far, is you should always have an attorney look over any contracts, okay? Very clear about that. But you can use AI to help you understand. That way, when you talk to the attorney, you're not starting from scratch and you know exactly what's going on. So we are in Mexico, and Mexico real estate is definitely a little bit different than the real estate in the United States. So how things are done, how the contracts are set up, what's said in the contracts, who does what. So it's definitely different. So we got the contract, and it was in English because I don't know Spanish that well. My wife knows it pretty good, but either way. So what we did is we got the contract. Then what I did is I looked over the contract myself, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of things in here that I don't like. Now, I do have a lot of experience with contracts. I worked over 11 years at a software company selling software where I had to deal a lot with legal contracts. So I was in there deep, and I pretty much did the same thing. Like before I sent it over to my legal team, who was just basically my boss, and then he would send it over to the CEO to approve. But so I had a lot of experience looking at legal contracts and understanding what they look like, okay? So this is definitely not going to be for everyone. My wife also worked in property management for quite some time. So she also has experience looking at real estate contracts, especially in rentals. So we have the background knowledge to understand what we're doing. So I want to start with that, okay? So what we did is first thing is we looked at the real estate contract, and there's a lot of things almost immediately that we did not like. We're like, okay, there's so much stuff that's way off. We're not a huge fan. So here's what we want to do. So we copied it and we made the red lines. So we edited it, we changed it, we made the red lines, and then from there, what we did is we sent that over to our attorney. Okay, but what I wanted to do is from here now, there's two different things that I'm going to be looking at. So I use Claude, which you're looking at right now, but I also use ChatGPT. So I use two different AIs just so I can see what the differences between the two and what they would be. So in this situation, after I did the red lines myself, I dropped this in because I wanted to know exactly what happened. So here, I have a contract. I have one that I edited and changed. So my red lines, I want to have a copy that is the original, but redlined with all my edits. So I want to drop in, and then I wanted it to redline it for me, so then I can send it over to them after so send it over to my attorney. And then from there, I can send over the red line contract to the real estate attorney, or I'm sorry, to the real estate agent, and then they can present it to the sellers. So this is what I did. I dropped this in, and then Claude, I was like, hey, here's the original. There you go. Here's the red lines. Here you go. Give me back what it is. Now, it went over a couple different things, and it gave me some ideas of what I should do. So like, hey, you need to make an edit here. So I need to change this. So I need to do a couple things. So it gave me a couple things that I need to do to make sure that it was a clean doc, and it told me exactly what edited. I'm like, okay, cool. Like one of the things here is like they wanted to have an unlimited cap on rent increases, like based off of inflation. Like, no, that's not happening. So yeah, a lot of different things in here. So then what I did is I look at it and take care of this, and then it spit back out the other contract. Then from here, so this is the other one. So this is ChatGPT. So basically did the same thing. So I redlined it, I did everything, I dropped it into ChatGPT and said, hey, can you give me this as a Word doc? Now, the difference between the two, so I basically dropped both of these in here. So they both told me what was going on, they both told me what was happening. But in this situation, the end contract that I got, and you can see here I chatted it with a little bit, and then I was asking it some questions to get started. And then once we sent it over to the renters, or I'm sorry, let's see here, compared to your final lease. Yeah, so here we go. So once we sent it over to them, so we got it back from our attorney, we sent it over to the people that are renting to us, and we're like, hey, here's the red lines that we proposed, good with the attorney, everything is all set, and then they sent back the contract. Now, instead of me literally holding up both of them, now they did not do the red lines. They did not accept the way that you would think like a legal contract in the US. That didn't happen. So they just sent us back. They're like, here you go. Here's what they accepted. And it's like, ugh. It was frustrating. So like I'm not going to sit there with two pieces of paper and like which one, like what are the changes here? So in this situation, what I did is I took the contract that they sent back, and you can see here they looked it over and then they gave us this one back. So they didn't like, accept the red lines. They just gave it back to me. So now here I asked ChatGPT, I was like, what changed from ours and what's the new one that came back? What did they accept? What they did not? Blah, blah, blah. And I want to make sure, think hard, don't skip anything. It's too important. So what he did is hey, I compared your lease and they don't see any changes at all. Like, really? Like, no changes. Like, this person accepted 100% of our red lines. I almost couldn't believe that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So, like, okay, cool. So, like, it actually went through and told me, like, what they did, renewal cap, they accepted, they kept this in mind. Okay, early termination. So, yeah, one of the neat things is the house is up for sale. So, if they sell it, they actually can kick us out, which is fine. But I put in a clause that they have to give us 50% discount on the next month's rent if they kick us out. So why not? I figured go for gold, right? Ask for everything. The worst they can do is say no. My wife was even like, I don't know about that. But either way. But the great part is that said it accepted. Like, okay, cool. Like all the maintenance obligations, like everything that we were like a little worried about, they accept pretty much everything according to AI. And then I personally took a look at the contract and I was like, okay, like, did they accept the air conditioning clause? It's like, yep, they accept the air conditioning clause. Like, okay, cool. And then I looked at it, I was like, I think maybe I saw a change. Now, I actually didn't think I see a change, but sometimes AI likes to lie to you, okay? So what I did is this is where I told it, I was like, no, look again. Because you hear all the stories and you see the stories of people. It's like, oh, hey, AI, can you do this for me? And it's like, I did it. It's like, no, AI, you didn't do it. And it's like, oh, you're right, I didn't do it. So basically, it's just like, didn't do anything. So this is that exact reason where I told AI, hey, look again, I'm pretty sure there's a change, or I think I saw a change. And then you're right to question it. So I rechecked carefully, see AI. But what I like about this, between the final lease, there are no AC change. There's no AC wording changes. The two uploaded are identical, and everything stays the same. Now, here, what I do like about this, so from the final version, they did not change anything. What you may have noticed is compared to an earlier draft, which is true because after I sent them the original red lines, my wife looked it over again and she's like, "Oh, it doesn't say anything about the air conditioning unit because like if it breaks, we don't want to pay for it." So like, ooh, we forgot to add that. So then we sent them a second redlined one with the air conditioning unit added, and we removed the HVAC. So that was the second one. So when it did compare the two, it's like nothing changed, and they were correct. But then it's like maybe you meant it was like the older one with the AC change. And it's like, you know what? You're right. And then, as a last pass, I did look over exactly what we sent them with all the red lines and exactly what they sent back. And I did look at it like a real human and I made sure that everything was right. I did not 100% rely on AI to take care of it. Now, I skimmed it very quickly. I just looked at like the end of the lines just to see if the paragraphs match, like the last word of like the first paragraph and the second paragraph, just to make sure all of the words were the exact same because that's one of the easy ways to see if anything changed. Little tip on that one. And it was absolutely perfect. So yeah, I know that this significantly sped up how quickly we got the contract back to them, how quickly my attorney got it back to us because we went to her, we're like, hey, this is what they gave us. These are our red lines. Just look to make sure that there's nothing crazy that we missed, which of course I had AI help me do that. I didn't share that here, but like anything here that we missed. And then she got it back to us very quickly. And then we got it back to the people that are renting us the house. And then they accepted everything that we could. So AI helped me save a lot of time by doing this. But again, don't rely on AI for everything and make sure you have an attorney, an official attorney, look over any signed contracts that you have. All right. Good luck, all.